I'm Meghan Miller.
I'm Deepika Mathiala. I'm Valerie Moreno.
I'm Nathan Burkhardt.
And I'm Brian Turnbull.
And we're here to talk to you guys today about revamping Miss America. Now everybody, think about everything you know about pageants, every stereotype, every cliche as you watch this video.
Hopefully you can get sound.
Alright, so how many of you guys would want your daughter to look up to someone like that? Alright, well, the majority of you would say no. And the reason why we showed this today is because this was Miss South Carolina Teen USA. And that's a lot of what the Miss USA program stands for is beauty and just great bodies. And that's pretty much everything Miss America tries to steer away from. Miss America is really into intelligent, well-spoken women. So now we're going to give you a little bit of background on the Miss America organization. Miss America began in Atlantic City in September of 1921. It originally started as a swimsuit pageant, and it was created to increase tourism into Atlantic City after the summer months had passed. Miss America then became an icon and just grew into something that little girls wanted to become, and now it's more of a scholarship program and community service program. Currently, Miss America is the #1 scholarship provider to young women in the U.S. today, giving over $45 million in scholarships last year on the local, state, and national level. All right, now there are 5 phases of competition. There's the interview, swimsuit, talent, evening gown, and onstage question. And the video you saw was from the onstage question portion. And the thing that makes Miss America really different from Miss USA is that there is a talent competition. And this is a very important part of Miss America. It kind of allows the girls to show their creativity and their creative accomplishment on stage and lets the audience get to know them a little bit better. Now, the problem with Miss America is that they're currently losing market share to their competitors, Miss USA, Miss Universe, and Miss Teen USA. And recently, this past year, they were dropped by their television network, TLC, who they'd been with for about 3 years. And Miss America is generally viewed as stuffy and old-fashioned. Every time you think about Miss America, you think of the girls just waving their face, Miss Congeniality, just like that. So what we want to try and do is kind of take Miss America's image and vamp it up, play up the role that she is a role model and someone that you want your daughters to look up to. Right now, our target market, we have 2 different target markets. Our primary target market is preteens aged 10 to 15. And the reason why we want to do this and we want to go to Disney is because she is a role model. We want to make sure that we capitalize on the fact that she's an intelligent, well-spoken woman. Also, we have a secondary target market, which is men and women aged 18 to 45. And the reason why we have a secondary market, this is not who we're completely focusing on, but Miss USA has a very, very strong hold in this market. And if we don't acknowledge it at all, we're going to lose in the long run. And so basically, the reason for our 2 different target markets is to keep Miss America competitive.
Miss America has many strengths, some of them being their focus on scholarships as well as being a role model for young women. But they do have some weaknesses as far as their brand awareness when they're competing with such organizations as Miss Universe and Miss USA, Miss Teen USA. And also, they as of now don't have a current solid TV home, which could be a problem for them. But they do have opportunity to grow because of this and gain a new market with a revamped marketing plan. But they do have to make sure to try and keep intact the current target market rate that they have, as well as keeping their strong brand image. But luckily for Miss America, Miss USA's brand image at the current moment is not necessarily the best one. As you can see from Miss USA 2006, Tara Connor, she's basically known for her visits to rehab. And then there's the bright young lady we saw earlier today, Miss South Carolina, who's known for her stupidity. And then there is Miss California, Carrie Prejean, who is most recently known for her views on gay marriage as well as leaked images online. So the Miss USA organization clearly focuses on physical appearance and beauty, and they are a profit organization led by Donald Trump, so that is their main cause. While Miss America is a not-for-profit organization focused on giving and dedicated to giving out scholarships for young women, and they are gearing away towards physical appearance, although that is a factor. They care more on intelligence as well as speaking ability. Now I'm going to hand it over to Valerie to go into the promotional mix.
Okay, so as many of us know, pageants are mainly viewed by female audiences. So since we do want to maintain this current market, we also want to expand onto a younger audience. And to do so, we wanted to have Miss America be the spokesperson for the Disney Channel. For example, having her during commercial breaks say something like,
"Hi, I'm Miss America, and you're watching Disney Channel."
We also feel that it'd be really effective to have a full-print ad on 17 magazine because the readers of this magazine currently are preteen girls. And since we do want to maintain our current market, we think that having 30-second commercials on the USA network would be very effective since the demographics of this network are evenly distributed between males and females aged 18 to 49. On to personal selling. So currently, TLC, the Miss America organization, had its program aired on TLC for, I think, about 3 years. But since they recently cut ties with them, we're looking for a new network to air our program. And we felt that Fox would be the ideal choice since, once again, their demographics are more closely aligned to our current market that we have. Hold on. As far as targeting a new audience, we want to have youthful hosts be on the program, and Ryan Seacrest and Miley Cyrus, we felt that they would be a good fit since they do appeal to younger audiences, and maybe having a high-profile celebrity such as Taylor Swift as a musical guest could appeal to younger audiences as well. And lastly, we want to use the image of Miss America as a classy, educated role model to bring on funding from corporate sponsors since we do need a lot of funding to take on these new initiatives. And now I'll pass it on to Nathan, who will talk about direct marketing.
After doing our research within direct marketing, and just as Megan had said earlier, our primary target audience is preteens between the ages of 10 and 15, and we also have that secondary market between the ages of 18 and 45. Based on our research, we found that 86% of young people use social media websites such as Facebook, Twitter, and MySpace. Miss USA is already using Facebook to go ahead and try and reach out to her viewers, and we're trying to hope that Miss America can go ahead and also jump on that bandwagon as well. Not only that, but advertising on Facebook is much more cost-effective than any other advertisements that we've come up with. The other aspect is trying to go ahead and get Miss America to get more involved within her own community. Like we said earlier, we're trying to get Miss America to be more tied in with the Disney Channel. And the Disney Channel currently has a Go Green campaign. And one thing we like to do is we like to go ahead and get the preteen, their primary market, to go ahead and submit videos, proposals via websites of community service projects that they'd like to go ahead and see happen, and Miss America can go ahead and be there when the community service project actually happens, but also more so having viewers submit their proposals and having Miss America be there to submit the proposal and perform the community service project. And lastly, but not least, we also want to go ahead and change up the actual pageant itself. Just as Megan again said earlier, Miss America is looked as if it were a stuffy organization. We're not asking Miss America to change her outlook at all whatsoever in terms of the actual pageant, but we like to go ahead and get the audience more involved within the pageant itself. One idea that we had was an American Idol style type of voting where the audience members and those sitting at home watching on television would be able to vote to keep in one contestant in through the entire competition, with the exception of the very final round. They would be able to vote via text messages or also promoting traffic through the website.
All right, now I'm going to get into the finances of the proposed marketing plan for Miss America. I'll start with the internet advertisements. We projected that they could spend about $50,000 in this area and get quite a bit of effective advertisements out there. Now, this budget is very important because it's actually one of the flexible pieces of the plan. So you can basically set this amount to more or less than $50,000 and get the desired results that you want. So, for instance, they can go on Facebook and target the preteen market as well as those 18 to 45 and be able to capitalize on that and shift this budget around a little bit to get the greatest return. Television advertisements, we valued at about $4.4 million, and that's basically split between USA and Fox is displayed below that. Magazine advertisements at $78,000, guest appearances at $200,000, and ad production costs at $135,000, and those are itemized between the cost of having the people work on those particular advertisements in print and television media. And the total cost is at 4.8, 4.9 for the proposed marketing plan. So with that, we have to find a way to make sure that Miss America can get the most out of this as possible. And so in order to do that, we basically conducted an NPV analysis. The first step to doing that is really finding out what the opportunity cost is. And so what we did is we said that, well, if Miss America was to go out there and put their money into the stock market, which has had an average return of 11%, then they would be able to get a certain amount of money. So we have to take that opportunity into consideration. So using that number, we can get the future value of the cost to see what we need to break even, figuring that into place. And this $5.4 million that we have here is basically the fair value estimate that Miss America would need to get in order to make it a venture that's wealth creating. So basically over the past, we've found that in general, Miss America will generate about $1 in profit per viewer that they gain. So with the proposed strategy, we say that maybe 1.5 million more viewers will be generated, so that will be additional 1.5 million in profits. And then with the total of 6 million in profits, they would have an NPV of 513,000, which is a wealth-creating venture. Now, while Miss America is a not-for-profit organization, so that anything extra that they get will actually go towards the scholarships, which will even further improve their strategy. To the right of that is the distribution of expenses. Now, I did mention that internet advertisements was a place where it actually can move around a little bit and be adjusted, but it only accounts for 1% of the budget. The television advertisements account for the big majority of it, and it's actually an all-or-nothing thing. So the strategy has to kind of work itself out. But there is a little bit of flexibility, just not that much.
All right. So we're just going to go quickly over what we talked about. One of the things we want to do is move from TLC to Fox. We also want to incorporate the Disney Channel to kind of get our target market of preteens. And lastly, we want to make sure that Miss America maintains her focus on community service and get more involved with people in her community. And I think if we follow all of these things, Miss America will have her rise back to the top, to the icon that she once was. Does anybody have any questions?
Let's give them a hand. Okay, questions about Miss America. I have one question. How many ladies in here, ladies, thought about being or dreamt about being Miss America when you were young? Come on. I know you did. I can just tell. Anybody else? All right.
I was a Miss USA dreamer until all this stuff recently. Now I think I like Miss America.
Yes. Go ahead. Questions. Go ahead.
I know, like, 2 years ago they did that reality show, Miss Indiana one. Do you think they might try to do that again? Because I watched it.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah, and they kind of did something a little different this year. I don't know if you saw it this year. And it wasn't quite as much of a reality show, and I really liked the reality show that they did, and that was one of our ideas that we had, but we couldn't make it work with the budget feasibly with all of the changes, moving networks and trying to advertise on Disney Channel. But I think it's something that they should need to do in the future to gain viewers like college kids.
I guess I just have a question about trying to integrate or get involved with Fox and Disney since they are competing networks. Maybe would it be a better idea to use like the Disney Channel, and since they own ABC, maybe to go there instead?
See, we thought about ABC, but the demographics for Fox are a lot closer to what we were wanting, and it also allows us to really tap into the market that Miss USA has. And we also wanted, we thought about ABC Family, we kind of toyed around with that, but we wanted to really be on a cable network, and ABC is just, it's really, really expensive. And I mean, if we can get with, we're trying to be realistic here with cost, and if we could get with Disney and actually get on the ground level with Disney and get really integrated with there, and then get back on ABC, because that's where Miss America was whenever it was in its heyday. So.
Question?
Yeah, when you're like looking at financial analysis, when you're kind of doing the cost breakdown, I realize like the $50,000 for internet is kind of a portion of the overall almost $5 million. But I'm kind of wondering how you came to that $50,000. It seems kind of like a lot, especially since social media is free and like pay-per-click's really inexpensive. So I wasn't sure like what you were thinking about when you combined that budget.
One thing about that is that in order to use it in Facebook, you have to take into consideration that when you're putting out ads to this target market, it's a huge market. So even though relatively the pay-per-clicks may be inexpensive, a small number by a large amount of people is a big number. So that's why there's that mark, that $50,000 there. Also, it's very flexible. This is a high estimate just because if we want to go less, we could go less. But that is just there to just put in there. So that you have to keep that in mind too. That is a very flexible budget. It can go less, it can even be more. So social media can be inexpensive, but it can also be expensive depending on how many people you're trying to get to.
Right. I mean, yeah. Okay. I understand what you're saying. I guess that there's statistics that it's less than a 10% of people click on stuff. Yeah. So that I mean that's I don't know.
You still have to put money up to get the ad there too. So you know.
And really, we're looking for on Facebook. We're looking for impressions and getting our name and more brand recognition out, because that's, like we said in our problem, that's one of the main things is people know Miss USA. And they think that Miss USA and Miss America are synonymous, and that's not the case. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that people understand the difference between Miss America and Miss USA, get Miss America's name out there a little bit more. And yeah, it costs money to do the actual advertisements on the side of Facebook. And we did that because we wanted to make sure that our finances, we were giving them the best number that we could to say this is the most money you would need, like, possible.
Question?
Yeah. I don't know if it's changed now, but I remember when I was in high school, I used to know MySpace and Facebook, and since you guys are targeting younger generation,
why didn't we use MySpace?
Right.
MySpace is basically being phased out as far as social media outlets. It keeps like switching out. It went from MySpace to Facebook, then Facebook to Twitter. So I mean, we need to keep up with recent trends like that. And so since MySpace is being phased out, Miss America wants to keep up with that current trend.
She wants to be hip and cool, and a lot of, I mean, I know a lot of my people that I know from doing pageants and stuff who are teens, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, they all have Facebook.
Yeah.
And so I think it's more of a trend towards Facebook than MySpace.
Okay, now how many pageants have you entered and how many pageants have you won?
I started doing the Miss America organization when I was 13 because they have a Miss America's Outstanding Teen program. I competed in Miss Teen Texas 4 times. I won my 4th time. And then I competed in the first ever Miss America's Outstanding Teen, and I was Miss America's Outstanding Teen. And I competed last year in Miss Texas, made top 10, and I'm competing again this year. So hopefully I'll be Miss Texas and go to Miss America.
There you go. See?
Future Miss America, right?
Hey,
Get her autograph.
Now the other thing I think, and I had a feeling, I just had a feeling that there was, because your presence, and when we talked earlier, you're going to work with a company called Imaging. And I said, Imaging? And all 3 of your companies that you're going to work for after graduation is Imaging. And I said, well, and then Miss America, and I was putting it all together.
Yeah.
Okay, the other thing is, I think it's a good idea to do the American Idol strategy. I think it's a great idea because that's popular, although it's waning a little bit after 9 years, but you would expect it to be that. That's a good strategy. And also, Taylor Swift, I mean, after what the middle midget,
Kanye West.
Kanye West said, I call him middle midget. I mean, like, where was he coming from? You know, and by the way, guess what? When you do something bad, my mother always said, you know, people don't like ugly. Well, guess what? Kanye West is not on the scene anymore, and Taylor Swift is like, yeah. And the other thing is, you might want to consider Sandra Bullock.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because of Miss Congeniality, as well as everybody now sees her as America's darling. At least a lot of people do. Okay, let's give them a hand.